Welcome back to another episode of With a Grain of Salt. I am your host, Isaiah Salter, and I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in for yet another week. Right now, I'm currently in Pennsylvania with my friend CJ. We just came to connect and collaborate with some content and things of that nature. If you guys didn't know, from the people who watch the podcast, I do have a personal YouTube called Isaiah Salter where I do vlogs and daily things on that. So if you want to go subscribe, please do. But today's episode is about surrendering, letting things happen, and navigating worry. I had a few people DM me on this topic, and it was something that really resonated with me and that I gravitated towards because I feel like it's an area that I'm currently navigating in the season that I'm in. Really surrendering, really allowing things to happen naturally, really letting go and relinquishing my worry for the things that I can't control. And so we're going to get into it. The first point of the podcast is breaking down the illusion of control that we have been taught growing up in the society that we live in. We often believe that if we plan everything perfectly, anticipate every problem, and force things to go a certain way, we'll find security and success. But life does not work like that. The more we try to control outcomes, the more we create stress and resistance. Surrendering doesn't mean giving up. It means accepting that we can only control our actions, not results. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Like, we grow up thinking that we have control over all of these things that we really have no control over. And whether we realize it or not, the more we focus on the things we don't have control over, the more we're actually taking energy and focus away from the things that we do have control over. And that's what creates more stress and resistance. Imagine how much stress is created when you're constantly focusing and trying to control things that you literally do not have control over. You do not have control over the outcomes. You only have control over the actions and the daily steps towards that outcome, right? So it's, we talked about this in a prior episode about setting a goal, setting a destination that you want to, attain or get to, and then backtracking and figuring out the daily steps that align with that goal, with that destination, with that outcome, and just focusing your energy on those things because you don't have control over the outcome. You don't have control over a month or a year from now. You only have control over what you do in this moment, the actions, the daily steps. And that's what allows you to navigate the stress and resistance that's created from trying to control or focus so much energy on the things that we don't have control over. I love this. It says control is a survival mechanism based on fear, but surrender is an act of deep trust. When you surrender, you are no longer trying to force the universe to work on your timeline. Control is a survival mechanism based on fear. When we're fearful, when we're moving in fear, right, and allowing fear to be the driving force of our life, that's when we try to control all of the things going on that we don't have control over. That's actually when we get in the way of allowing God to work in our life, because fear clouds our judgment. It makes us think that all these things are going to go bad if we don't try to force them, if we don't try to control them, right? But surrendering is an act of deep trust. The only way to move into a energy of surrender, of true surrender, is to truly trust in something that you can't see, is to truly relinquish control of the steering wheel and say, God, take the wheel. God, take the wheel. I'm going to do the daily things that align with the person that I'm trying to become, but I'm not going to get in the way of what you're trying to do in my life by trying to control everything. And when you really move into that space of surrender, that's when God works the most in your life. I promise you, that's when God works the most in your life, because you're open. When you're open, you allow for the right things to come in and the things that aren't for you anymore to go out. But when you're in a state of fear, when you're in a state of trying to control everything in your life, control the outcomes, control the destination, control all the variety of the things that you go through, you close yourself off to allowing God to work in your life. It's a beautiful thing to become aware of, because so often we're not even aware that we're closed off. We're not even aware that we're getting in the way of allowing God to really work in our life. You are on your own unique timeline, and God is doing something in your life that is unique to you, that is part of a way bigger plan than you can fathom. And so getting out of the way and allowing God to work is one of the best moves you can make in your journey. And it's what allows you to bring so much peace and clarity into your life, because rather than focusing on all of these things that you don't have control over, you could really just focus on what you have right in front of you and allow God to take care of all the things that you were once so caught up in. It says, the more you resist what is happening, the more you suffer. The sooner you accept life as it is, the sooner you can work with it instead of against it. That's a bar. That's a bar. The more you resist what is happening, the more you suffer. It says what you resist, persist. The more you resist it, the more it persists. The more you resist it, the more it persists. So the sooner you can accept the reality of your situation, the sooner you can start to work with it rather than against it. So many people, and acceptance doesn't mean saying, oh, well, this is just the end all be all. I guess this is just my life and forget it. I'm just done. No, it means accepting the current reality of where you are in order to get to where you want to be. That's what acceptance truly means. Okay, I see the things going on in my life. I see where I'm at. I see the things that I'm struggling with, the things that I'm dealing with. I'm going to accept where I am so that I can work with life rather than against it. The more you don't accept where you are, the more you work against the flow of life. The more you go upstream. Some tangible steps to help you with point number 1. Identify where you're forcing control. Write down areas in your life where you're trying too hard to control outcomes, whether that's relationships, work, future plans, and ask yourself, what would happen if I truly trusted instead? Rather than worrying about all these things, what would happen if you truly trusted that everything would be okay? What would happen? Write that down and journal that to yourself. Really talk to yourself through that prompt, and that could really help you to navigate some of those things that you're trying to force in your life. It says practice micro moments of surrender. When something doesn't go your way, instead of reacting with frustration, take a deep breath and say, I trust that this is unfolding for my highest good. Come on. That's something that my mom has been telling me so much, probably over the past 2-3 months. And I love that she, reassures me of that saying. Isaiah, everything is happening for your highest good. When she's dealing with something, yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it may be difficult to navigate, but everything is happening for my highest good. And just reaffirming that to yourself can help you so much to understand that, hey, maybe this thing didn't go the way I thought, but I trust that something better will come. Come on. Some quotes. Steve Miraboli says, you must learn to let go, release stress. You were never in control anyway. That's beautiful. You have to really understand all the things that you think you have control over, you were never really in control anyway. So letting go releases stress, it releases frustration, it releases resistance, and it allows you to take back control over the parts of your life that you do have control over. Eckhart Tolle said, surrender is the simple but profound wisdom of yielding to life rather than opposing the flow of life. Come on. Point number 2, the power of presence. It says worry drags us into an endless cycle of thinking about the past or anticipating the future. We overanalyze mistakes, obsess over what could go wrong, and lose touch with the only thing that truly exists, this present moment. Surrendering to the now means accepting that this moment is enough as it is. Man, I could really attest to this. Worry will drag you into an endless cycle of thinking about the past or anticipating the future. And when you're in a state of worry, it's impossible to be present. Because worry it means that you're fixating on something outside of this moment. You're worrying so much about an outcome, about a future thing happening, or you're worrying so much about something that already happened, or this thing and that, whatever it is, you're fretting about the past, right? And we obsess over these things, and we lose touch with the one thing that truly exists, and that's this moment. The only thing that truly exists in this moment is this moment. Not a month from now, not a month ago. It's only this moment. So being able to shift your gauge to this moment and make the most out of where you are can help you so much to stop worrying about the things outside of this moment. It says the present moment is the only space where life happens. When you live in the past or future, you're missing out on the gift of now. Come on. Letting go of what ifs allows you to fully experience what is. Worry does not change the future. It only steals joy from the present. That is a bar. And So often with these things, whether it's worry, anxiety, whatever, it's not so much about completely getting rid of them. It's about understanding them on a deeper level and shifting our perspective on them, right? It's about shifting our perspective on these things so that we can understand them in a new way and navigate them in a more aligned, authentic way, right? Now that you know that worry doesn't change the future, it only steals joy from the present. Whenever you fall into that trap or that loop of worry, you can have the awareness to see it and the intention of understanding that, okay, I know that worrying about this thing isn't going to change it. It isn't going to fix it. It's only causing more stress and frustration to me in this moment and taking away from the gifts that I have right now. And so understanding that, now you can start to take steps towards bringing yourself back to the present. It doesn't mean that you're not still going to feel worry. You're not going to still feel anxiety and things of that nature. But the way you navigate these things change. And that's really where you want to get to life. It is not about getting rid of all these things. It's not about living a life where you never worry. It's not about living a life where you never have anxiety. It's not about living a life where you never go through tough seasons. It's about shifting your perspective on these things, shifting your relationship to these things so that you can navigate them in a healthier way, so that you can use them and view them as guides and ways to grow rather than blockages and hindrance to your growth. And it's a completely different life you will live when you shift your perspective on these things. Letting go of what ifs allows you to fully experience what is. Oh, what if this happened? Oh, what if that happened? Oh, what if they did this? What if they did Hey, you can what if yourself to death. Focus on what is. What is currently the reality of your situation, and let's operate from that place. Because that means we're operating from truth. We're not operating from a facade or a fear-based illusion that our mind has come up with. We're operating from what actually is. And when you operate from what is, that means you can start to move towards what is for you. Some tangible steps for step number 2. Use grounding techniques. I love this. This is a great technique that I actually tried when I was working towards this podcast, and it helps. It really does. If you find yourself worrying, try the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. So name 5 things you see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell, and 1 thing you taste. This brings you back to the present, because I was just in my room and I saw this and I tried it, and immediately, like, you start focusing on everything that you have around you right now. So it immediately takes you away from giving so much energy to that worry, right? And if you just keep doing that and practicing it, you're going to get better at bringing yourself back to the present. Come on. So 5 things you see, right? So it's like, I see a poster that says never a dull moment. I see a painting of a tree in a pond. I see a coffee mug on the top of that shelf. I see a marble jar. I see a couch behind the camera. 4 things you touch. I can touch my journal, my computer, a book, and the coffee mug, and this pen, just to add 1. 3 things you hear. I hear my own voice. That's 1. I hear the heating thing in the back, and I hear the clock ticking. 3 things you smell. I smell this black coffee, and I smell the body oil that I have on. 1 thing you taste. I taste the black coffee. But right there, just in that moment, I was so focused on trying to find these things that's where my energy was in this moment. I couldn't even think about the worry or whatever it was. I was so focused on the 5, 4, 3, and 2, and 1. So try that. Schedule mindful pauses throughout your day. Set a reminder 3 times a day to stop, take a deep breath, and check in with your body. Ask yourself, am I here now, or am I outside of this present moment? I was talking to CJ about this yesterday, and I don't think we understand the power of our breath. I don't think we understand the power of a deep breath, right? I don't think we understand it, man. Like, whenever I am stressed out, whenever I'm maybe falling into anxious thoughts or worrying a little bit too much, what a really intentional deep breath can do for me in that moment changes everything. And that's really how you regulate your nervous system, right? When you're feeling all of these different things, rather than trying to figure it all out in the moment, pause and take a deep breath. I'm talking In through the nose, out through the mouth. And do that as many times as you need to feel like you're bringing yourself back to baseline, bringing yourself back to the moment, bringing yourself back to calmness. Even after doing that just now, I feel a sense of calmness within myself, and it can help tremendously. Some quotes. It says, worry does not empty tomorrow of its sorrows. It empties today of its strength. Like I said, just reframing these things, changing your perspective on these things can help so much. Whenever I'm worrying, I understand that all I am doing is taking away the gift of today, taking away the strength of today, and focusing on something that does not even exist. It does not even exist, right? And saying that to myself, whether it's internally or actually out loud, helps me just to remind myself that, hey, worrying doesn't do any good for you, right? So let's navigate this in a healthy way and get ourselves back to the present with the tangible steps that we can use to do that, whether it's a deep breath or whether it's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, whether it's journaling, right? Whether it's a conversation with a trusted individual that you have in your life, whatever it may be. Eckhart Tolle, he's an amazing spiritual teacher. I think he wrote the book, The Power of Now. I still have yet to read it. I got to read that. But he says, realize deeply that the present moment is all you have. When you truly understand that, when you truly understand that all that you have is this moment, and you start navigating from that space, your life is going to shift. Your life is going to shift, right? The awareness to see when you're not in the moment and the intention to bring yourself back to the moment, to understand that all that I have is this moment. That is it. I just need to make the most out of this moment every single day. And you're going to get exactly to where you need to be. Number 3, trusting the unknown. We fear uncertainty because we crave predictability. But the reality is life is uncertain. And that's where its magic lies. Surrendering means shifting from a mindset of fear to one of curiosity. What if the unknown is where your biggest blessings are waiting? Imagine if you asked yourself that out loud or wrote that down. What if the unknown, what if the uncertainty that lies ahead is where your greatest blessing lies? How excited would you be to lean into that, right? If you had a conversation with God and God said, hey, your greatest blessings lie in the unknown, in the uncertainty that you're so afraid of. How would that shift your perspective? How would that shift how you navigate the uncertainty and the unknown? You'd probably be a lot more excited to see what blessings lie ahead. You'd probably be a lot more willing to lean into it. You'd probably be a lot more courageous to, yeah, I feel the fear, but I'm going to do it anyway because I know something great lies ahead. Well, I'm here to give you great news. Something great does lie ahead. In that uncertainty, in that unknown, there are blessings in it. I promise you there are. Anytime I've leaned into the unknown or to uncertainty with curiosity, with an open heart and an open mind, and allowed God to work, the greatest blessings have came into my life, right? But when you allow fear to cloud your judgment and you operate from that fear, it makes you start to move in a way that's closed off. It makes you start to move in a way that's restricted, contracted. And all you're doing when you move in that type of energy is actually blocking God from working in your life. You're blocking the blessings that the unknown or the uncertainty wants to bring you because you're in a state of fear and you're allowing that to drive your vehicle. But we're not going to beat ourselves up when we realize this. We're going to bring awareness and intention into our life. Awareness to see when you're allowing fear to drive your car, and the intention of being more open, the intention of being more courageous, the intention of leaning more into the uncertainty with excitement and curiosity. So with awareness, you catch yourself. And with that intention, you move yourself back on track. And you just keep on doing that over and over and over. And you start to shift, right? It says the unknown is where transformation happens. If everything was predictable, nothing would ever change and you would never grow. Growth comes from uncertainty. Growth comes from leaning into the unknown, stepping out of your comfort zone, stepping out of what's known into the unknown. That's where growth happens, right? If you knew how everything was going to go, if everything was predictable, what would this life even be about? Where would the excitement be? Where is the excitement in knowing exactly how everything's going to go in your life? Where is the excitement in that? Where is the excitement in going to a movie where you know exactly everything that's going to happen? Where is the excitement? So when you shift your perspective on these things, the way you navigate them changes, right? So when you shift your perspective on uncertainty and the unknown, you'll start to embrace them with an open heart. You'll start to trust in the unknown rather than fear and run away from the unknown, right? And understand that through it all, you have the whole hand of God on you, guiding you through it all. What do you have to fear? If God is for you, who can stand against? What can stand against? Absolutely nothing. So, yeah, that uncertainty might be scary. Yeah, stepping into the unknown might bring you those emotions and feelings of fear. But it's okay to feel that way. Remind yourself, God is guiding me through all of this. And I trust that everything is happening for my highest good. I just need to lean into it with the right perspective. I need to lean into it with the right energy. I need to lean into it with faith, with curiosity. When you trust life, you start seeing challenges as invitations rather than obstacles. Uncertainty is an opportunity, not a threat. Uncertainty is an opportunity, not a threat. Uncertainty is an opportunity, not a threat. Whenever uncertainty arises in our life, we're so quick to view it as a threat because, like I said, we're allowing fear to be the driving force of our life. If you allow fear to drive your vehicle, every time uncertainty comes up, you're going to feel like it's a threat. But when you shift from fear to faith, you start viewing uncertainty as an opportunity. And it's going to change everything because now you start leaning into it with excitement. You start leaning into it with curiosity. The fear could still be there, right? But now, rather than viewing fear as such a negative thing, you start viewing fear as a signal to lean into this thing because I know that this is where their growth is. Usually the things that we have the most fear about lead to the most growth in our life when we lean into them, right? So rather than viewing fear as something to stop, you view fear as a guide, as a signal to lean into it, right? So, okay, I feel fear about this thing. I feel fear about the uncertainty that lies ahead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean into that with faith. Man, I'm going to lean into that with faith. I'm going to allow faith to be the driving force through what I'm fearful about. I'm going to allow faith to be the driving force through the unknown, through the uncertainty that lies ahead. And I'm going to trust that in this uncertainty, in this unknown, there's a blessing waiting for me. There's growth waiting for me. God is guiding me through it all. And when you have that perspective through it, there's nothing that can come into your path that you won't be willing to face, that you won't be willing to lean into because you're not alone. And you have everything you need within yourself to navigate it. God has given you every single thing that you need within yourself. It's just about us cultivating those things that are already right here. Faith and fear are both different energies that you can step into, right? And emotions are energy in motion. Energy in motion. We are energetic beings. So, depending on the energy that you cultivate within yourself, you're either going to be moving in an energy of fear or an energy of faith. But it all stems from stuff that you already have within yourself, right? Trust in it. Go down that path of cultivating the aligned energy within yourself. Some tangible steps. Reframe fear as excitement. When you're anxious about an unknown situation, tell yourself, this is exciting. I am stepping into a new opportunity. This simple shift changes your energy. So when fear arises, so does excitement. When fear arises, so does excitement, because I know where fear is, there's my task. And when I lean into fear, I get blessings. I get more opportunities. I get more growth. So I'm excited for it. So reframing fear as excitement changes everything. So now when I feel fear, I say I'm excited. I don't say, oh, I'm scared. No, I'm excited. I'm excited. We're excited for the growth that lies ahead, y'all. Take one small risk weekly. Whether it's starting a conversation with a stranger or trying a new experience, do something weekly that puts you in the unknown so you build trust in yourself. Confidence comes from the things that you've built, the trust you've built from things that you know you've done. It doesn't come from something you say, right? So living a life of faith doesn't come from you just saying, I want to live a life of faith. It comes from you actually putting that into practice in everything that you do, right? So one of the ways that I built confidence with talking to people, with, stepping out of my comfort zone, was I challenged myself literally. Like, I still do it to this day. I don't always do it, right? But I have the intention in my mind to do it. Whenever I'm out, whether I'm standing in line, whether I'm at the grocery store, whatever it may be, like, I'm constantly searching out opportunities to talk to a stranger, even if it's a small interaction, even if it's, oh, what do you think about that product or whatever it may be. I remember one time I was in Panera, and this is how things can happen, y'all. I remember one time I was in Panera, right? There was this lady standing behind me. She had these beautiful red glasses on. She was an older lady, probably like 50s, 60s, and she had this fire like outfit on. It was dope. So I turned around and I seen her glasses. I turned back and I'm contemplating, and I'm like, well, this is a great opportunity to just let her know that I love your glasses. And so I told her, I turned around, I said, I love the glasses you have on. She said, oh my gosh, thank you. Sparked a whole conversation. That conversation literally led to me obviously getting to know her more, her getting to know me more. And this lady owns a fashion boutique, a little women's clothing boutique in Syracuse where I live. And she invited me to come see the space. All from a small conversation, all from me just turning around and saying, hey, I like the glasses you have on, right? So challenge yourself weekly to do that one time, right? One time. I'm not going to say, oh, you got to do it every single day, once a week, and then twice a week, and then 3 times a week, and then challenge yourself to grow. And that's how you build confidence. That's how you build faith, right? Whatever it may be, like, challenge yourself to start moving out of your comfort zone and doing things that, ooh, that's a little scary. That's a little tough for me. Lean into that. Lean into that. Martin Luther King said, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. Number 4, the difference between surrender and giving up. The difference between surrender and giving up. Point number 4. It says a lot of people mistake surrender for quitting, but they are not the same. Surrendering is an active decision to let go of attachment to results, while quitting is withdrawing from effort entirely. When you surrender, you still take action. You just trust the process instead of forcing it. That is beautiful. Surrendering doesn't mean quitting. It doesn't mean sitting down and folding. No, it means you're still taking action, but you're just trusting in the process rather than trying to fixate and control the outcome, right? Rather than being so emotionally attached to how everything needs to go in your life. No, I'm surrendering my attachment to how things need to go. I'm going to allow God to work, and I'm going to focus all my energy on trusting in the process, on taking the aligned steps every single day. And I'm going to trust that in itself will get me to where I need to be. It says surrender means aligning with life's flow, not stepping away from it. It's saying, I will do my part and let the rest unfold. I will do my part and let the rest unfold. What is your part? This is why it's important to use the tangible steps to, take out your journal and write this stuff down. Figure out the things that you have true agency in your life and start focusing on doing your part to better those areas, right? Your attitude, your perspective, your mindset, your daily habits, what you watch, what you do, who you hang around, right? What you listen to, what you eat, what you drink, all of these things that you actually have control over. Focus on controlling those things, on focusing your energy on developing those areas and letting the rest unfold. And what does letting the rest unfold mean? That means allowing God to work in your life while you focus on the things that you have control over. Allowing God to work in all the other areas that you don't have control over and just focusing your energy on the things you do have control over. And that's when your relationship with God becomes a collaboration. I've always viewed it that way. It's not one person works and the other doesn't. It is a collaboration. God, I'm going to focus my energy on the things that I do have control over. my attitude, my perspective, my daily habits. And I'm going to allow you to take the wheel of the things that I do not have control over in my life. And we are going to collaborate and make a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful journey out of it. And that is how you collaborate with the Creator. That is how you allow God to work in your life in ways that you could have never imagined. That's how miracles happen, right? But so often we try to control every single area of our life. We try to control the destination and the journey. We try to control the results and the actions. We try to control everything. We try to control all these different areas in our life, and it creates resistance, frustration, and stress. And you actually get in the way of God working in your life. You actually get in the way of God working in your life. Because if you really want God to truly work in your life, you must let go of your attachment to the things that you have no control over. Focus your energy on the things you do have control over, and trust that all those other areas God is working in, and God will take care of, and everything will be okay. And that's how you move in faith. That's how you move in faith and not fear. Fear is what makes you want to control every single thing in your life. Faith says, I'm going to focus my energy on the things that I do have control over, and I'm going to trust that everything else will be taken care of. God willing, inshallah. Come on. Some tangible steps. Oh, no, there's one more point. It says surrender is about releasing attachment, not effort. It's the difference between rowing with the current versus against it. That's all it is. Surrendering does not mean you're not putting in effort anymore. No, it means you're putting in effort into the right things. Come on. That's what surrendering allows you to do, right? That's what surrendering allows you to do. It says it's the difference between rowing with the current or against the current, right? When you're rooted in fear and in attachment and control, you're rowing against the current. When you surrender, that's when you allow God to work in your life, and that's when you row with the current. But your job is to make sure you're rowing. Your job is to make sure the boat is staying on course, right? But allow God to take you right where you need to be. That's a beautiful place to be right there. Come on. Tangible steps. It says, ask yourself, am I resisting or am I trusting? If something isn't working, pause and reflect. Am I forcing this or am I allowing it to unfold naturally? You need to have these type of conversations with yourself. Am I resisting or am I trusting? Right? And be honest. Be honest with yourself. You would not want to be in a relationship with somebody where every time you guys had a conversation, there was no honesty. There was no truth behind what that person was saying. They always tried to beat around the bush. No, just be real with me. And that's how you need to be with yourself. You need to be real with yourself. Have a conversation with yourself that's rooted in being real. Hey, I feel like I'm resisting in this area. Hey, I feel like I'm trying to force this thing in my life. Be real with yourself so that you can navigate from the truth rather than trying to beat around the bush and then you're confused on what to do and you know it's not nah, just be real. Am I resisting? Am I trusting? Am I forcing or am I allowing things to unfold naturally? Be real with yourself and then navigate accordingly, right? Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself down, right? We're not going to do that. We're going to move accordingly with compassion, with empathy, with love, with gratitude, and with faith. Come on. Set intentions, not expectations, right? Intentions. How do you want to show up? What are the things that you want to start implementing in your life, right? Expectations are, oh, I need everything to work out this exact way. And if it doesn't, something's not right. And no. Intentions over expectations. Intentions over expectations. Sanya Rakati says, surrender what is, let go of what was, have faith in what will be. Very simple. A Zen proverb said, let go or be dragged. Let go or be dragged. So often we don't realize the reason we feel so dragged by life is because we're not willing to let go. It's like holding on to the back of a horse carriage, right? And because you're rooted in fear, that fear has made you have the illusion of control, which is literally making you grip on to the rope that's attached to that horse carriage. And that horse carriage is, they're running at 20 miles per hour, 25 miles per hour, and you're just being dragged, right? But because you have this fear that if you let go, you're losing something. If you let go, you're losing control. You just continue to get dragged. Rather than saying, listen, I don't want to be dragged anymore. And God, I'm going to trust that if I let go, everything will work out. And you let go. And what starts to happen is you realize that, one, you were holding on to something that you didn't even need to hold on to anymore, that wasn't even serving you anymore. And two, you feel so much more peaceful because you're not being dragged so much. So much stress goes out the door because you're like, hold on, whoa, I did not realize that this control that I was trying to have over every aspect of my life was actually causing all of the frustration and stress that I was trying to get away from, all of the anxiety that I was trying to get away from. It's so wild because so often the same things we're trying to get away from, we're actually causing with how we operate and navigate life. And we don't even realize that. So we keep doing the things that cause the things we're trying to get away from. And then we keep focusing on the things we're trying to get away from and don't realize that we're still doing the same things that are causing the things that we're trying to get away from. It's a dangerous place to be. And that's what you call a loop. It's just a cycle, a negative cycle. Just keep going and going. You're like, what the heck is going on? What is this happening? And then you try to find all of these things externally to fill and heal that pain, when it really just comes from you understanding, I need to let go. I need to let God. I need to move in faith. I need to focus my energy on the things that I do actually have control over. I need to focus on being more present and making the most out of this moment. And I'm going to be okay, right? I'm going to be okay. Point number 5 says, releasing the burden of overthinking. Overthinking is definitely a burden. Overthinking is one of the biggest barriers to surrender. It tricks us into believing that if we think long enough, we'll find certainty. But the truth is, clarity comes when we stop overanalyzing and start trusting. Absolutely. That's what overthinking tricks us into doing. It tricks us into believing that if we keep thinking about this thing, some type of relief will come from it. But it only causes more stress and frustration. It only causes more resistance, right? But true clarity comes from when you let go and you say, you know what? I'm going to trust that everything will work out. I'm going to trust that everything will work out. I'm going to trust that God is guiding me through this. I'm going to trust that this thing that I can't stop overthinking about will work out for my highest good. And there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to overthink. I'm going to take this energy, right? I'm going to be aware that I'm overthinking. I'm going to take this energy and put it towards things that can help me move more into faith and trust. So I'm going to journal it out. I'm going to have a real conversation with myself. I'm going to pray. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to go for a walk, whatever it may be. And you start to do that and you start to navigate it differently. It says your mind is a tool, but it's not meant to be your master. Overthinking is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but gets you nowhere. Whoo! That's a bar. Overthinking is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it gets you nowhere. Imagine trying to run a race, right? A 100-yard dash in a rocking chair. And you're just staring at the destination, the place that you're trying to go, but you're not moving. But because you feel the rocking back and forth, you think something is happening. Nothing is happening. And that's what overthinking does, literally. Overthinking is literally like trying to run a race in a rocking chair. You're trying to complete a mission, do something in a rocking chair. It gets you nowhere, absolutely nowhere. And this is the importance, like I said, of reframing these things. It is not about living a life where you never overthink. It's about having the awareness of when you're overthinking, be able to reframe it as an opportunity to lean into and bring the intention of the things that you've learned and the things that you're trying to implement into your life, into that moment, to bring you right back on track. That is how you develop areas of your life, literally with awareness and intention. That is how you develop any area of your life that you want to develop. If you bring awareness and intention into it, you're golden, bro. You're golden. You're golden. It says, the answers you seek often arise in stillness, not in forceful thinking. When you surrender, solutions often appear naturally. Absolutely. It's very hard to overthink yourself into an answer. It's very, very hard to overthink yourself into an answer. And I've fell into that trap so many times before where I've just tried to force thinking. I've tried to force the answer to come, and it just creates more overthinking, and it it just compounds, and it just gets me nowhere. It just gets me more anxiety, more stress, more frustration. But when I really carve out spaces for stillness, whether it's in that journaling, whether it's in the meditation, whether it's going for a walk, exercising, whatever it may be, and just being in the moment, sometimes solutions just often appear naturally, like, oh, there it is. Wow. But overthinking clouds your judgment. Overthinking clouds your ability to see clearly, you know? So here's some tangible steps. Use a 5-minute worry timer. When you catch yourself overthinking, set a 5-minute timer. Allow yourself to think about the problem. Then when that time's up, release it and move on. Come on. Set a timer, 5 minutes. Put it down, 5 minutes. And we're going to sit there. And we're really going to let ourselves overthink. We're going to let ourselves think about whatever about the problem. Just go. But right when that 5 minutes goes up, okay, end it, get up, move on. Let's go. Move. Let's go do something. We're going to go to one of our tangible steps, one of our things that keep us aligned. We're going to go to one of our grains, one of our daily grains, and we're going to move forward. But we're not going to sit there for hours overthinking. No, we're going to give it 5 minutes. Boom, and then we're going to get up and go. Come on. And having a 5-minute timer that you can see and that actually goes off is getting you into that mindset. It's tricking your brain. Okay, we're done. We're done with this. Let's go. All right, we're done with this. It says practice mental decluttering. Journal for 10 minutes a day, whether that's in the morning or at night, letting all of your thoughts out on the paper. This helps clear your mind and reduce overthinking. Yeah, just literally, like, there don't need to be a script or a prompt. Just journal whatever is on your mind. Just let free from, and it doesn't need to make sense. It doesn't need to make sense. It doesn't need to be all, pristine and perfect. Just write. Let everything in here out. It says overthinking is the art of creating problems that weren't even there. How often do we overthink into creating problems that aren't even existing? They don't even exist. They're not there. We just overthink ourselves into more problems. It just creates more problems that don't even exist. It's so true. So when I catch myself overthinking from now on, I'm going to know, well, all I'm doing right now is creating more problems that weren't even there to start with. That's a reframing technique that I'm going to use, and it's going to help me navigate overthinking. Mandy Hale says, you don't always need a plan. Sometimes you just need to breathe, trust, and let go, and just see what happens. Sometimes you just need to do that. You trying to figure everything out. Sometimes you need to stop, take a deep breath. God, I trust. I'm letting go. Let's see what happens. Boom. Sometimes that's what you need to do in situations. Number 6 says letting go of resistance. Resistance happens when we fight reality. We wish things were different, hold on to expectations, and push against what is instead of accepting it. Surrendering doesn't mean we stop trying. It means we stop resisting the flow of life. Surrendering does not mean we just stop trying. It means we stop resisting. We're going to put that energy that we were putting towards resisting, towards focusing on the things that we do have control over. And when you do that, you're going to naturally move into an energy of surrenderance. When you resist life, you create suffering. The pain isn't in the event itself. It's in your resistance to it. So often, the pain from the things that we go through isn't the actual experience. It's our resistance to the experience. It's our resistance to the things that we go through, right? So often, God is going to bring different things into your life in order to help you to grow and develop. What causes the pain, truly what causes the suffering, is our resistance to these things, because we're looking at them through the wrong lens. We have the wrong energy driving our car. We have the energy of fear allowing us to see these things as obstacles, as hindrances, as roadblocks, rather than opportunities to grow, opportunities to develop, blessings in disguise, right? Blessings in disguise. Anything that's worthwhile is going to be tough to get. It's not going to be easy to attain, right? So a lot of times the blessings that you're praying for are going to come in ways that you may not have necessarily envisioned in your mind, but you have to understand, oh wait, when things get tough, usually what's on the other end of that, it's a blessing. And when you get to the other end, you realize, oh, I had to go through that to get to the blessing that I prayed for. This was the blessing that I prayed for right here, right? This was the blessing that I prayed for right here. But when you have expectations, you pray for certain things and you expect it to come in a certain way, you're closing yourself off to the opportunity. So many people miss out. So many people will pray for certain things. And with that prayer, they have an expectation attached to it of how it needs to come into their life. So now when God brings something into their life from different areas and it doesn't look like the thing that they envision, oh no, they think that's the wrong thing. Oh, they think that ain't it. You start to be like, no, why I got to go through this? Why? You start to do all that, right? Rather than surrendering expectations, praying for something and saying, God, I'm open and I receive. I'm open and I receive however you want to bring this blessing into my life, I'm open to. So now you're not closing yourself off to any experience because you realize any experience can lead to the blessing that you prayed for. Whew. And then you also realize that every experience holds within it a seed of opportunity. And when you lean into it with that mindset, you get a blessing out of every experience. Man, come on. Come on, bro. Come on. Come on. True peace comes when you stop arguing with reality and instead ask, how can I work with what is? How can I work with this? Oh, God, why is this happening to me? No. God, how can we make the most out of where we are? Two totally different perspectives, two totally different mindsets, two totally different energies. Oh, this is the worst thing ever. Ooh, how can I grow in this situation? And I just dropped the pen. How can I grow in this situation? Where's the opportunity in this situation? Come on. Come on. We were due for a pen drop. It's been like 2 episodes since we dropped the cap of the pen, so we were due for that. Some tangible steps to help with letting go of resistance. Practice radical acceptance. When something doesn't go as planned, pause and say, this is what's happening right now. How can I make the most of it? This is what's happening right now. How can I make the most of it? Practice radical acceptance. Say these things to yourself when things do not go as planned. Write it down. How can I make the most of this? And right there, you're already shifting your gaze to start looking for the opportunities rather than just focusing on how things didn't go your way. When you ask these type of questions and you start to reframe the things that you look at, the things you look at change. We say it all the time. The things you look at change. Loosen your grip. That's what it says. Loosen your grip. If you're fixated on a specific outcome, ask yourself, what if something even better is unfolding? And allow room for different possibilities. Come on. This has changed my life. Like, so often growing up, and especially like prior to this year and stuff, I was so fixated on certain, on a specific outcome, on a certain thing going a certain way. But when I really allowed myself to let go, to loosen my grip and say, you know what? What if something better can unfold? What if God can do something even greater than I can come up with? You start to see miracles happen in your life. You start to see, that's where the magic happens, when you loosen your grip and you allow different opportunities and possibilities to come into your life. Loosen your grip a little bit. Open yourself up. Allow God to work. Right? Allow God to work. Eckhart Tolle, of course, again, he says, whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. I'm going to accept where I am as if I have chosen it. Because in reality, whether you realize it or not, you did choose it. Everything you have done prior to this moment has led you to this moment. Everything you have done, everything you have chosen to do, the actions, the things you said, the things you've done, whatever it may be, has led you to this present moment. So wherever you are, wherever it contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Don't fight it. Don't resist it. We're going to accept it so that we can move through it. We're going to accept it so that we can grow from it. Point number 7, the role of faith in surrender. The role of faith. Surrendering requires faith. Faith in yourself, faith in life, faith in God. Faith that things are unfolding as they should, even when they don't make sense. It's the belief that you are being guided even through uncertainty. Come on. Faith is a prerequisite to you truly moving into that energy of surrender. Truly surrendering to the flow of life, to God's plan. Letting go and letting God. It's a prerequisite. You have to have the energy of faith. You have to really move in faith. The only way to cultivate the energy of faith is to actually take steps of faith. A lot of people say they have faith, and then their daily habits and steps are rooted in fear. They don't align. Don't look at what you say. Look at what you are. Look at what you do. Right? Because that's what you're going to get back in your life. You can want all of these things externally to happen. You can want all of these outcomes and all these great things in your life to happen. But if that's not what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, if that's not who you are internally, that's not what you're going to attract into your life, because you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are is your perspective. What you are your daily habits. What you are is your mindset. What you are is the energy within yourself. What you are is your emotional state. So focus more on those things rather than just saying and wishing for the right things, right? It says faith isn't about knowing the outcome. It's about trusting the process even when you can't see the full picture. I have faith that if I trust in the process, if I take it day by day, moment by moment, step by step, everything's going to be okay. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. And that's what faith allows you to do. It allows you to trust in the process without needing to see the full picture of how everything's going to go. It's easy to trust in the process when you see the destination, when you see the outcome. But that's not faith. Faith is not seeing the outcome, not seeing the destination, and trusting in the process, right? Faith is having a vision, not knowing how you're going to get there, but trusting that things will work out as they're meant to. I have the vision for a reason. God planted that dream in my heart for a reason. So I need to trust that things will work out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down that vision. I'm going to write down that dream I have. And I'm really going to be honest about the daily actions and habits and perspectives and mindset and attitudes that align with a person that would achieve that dream or that vision. And I'm going to do my best to move down that path every single day, one step at a time. And that's how you embrace the process and let go of the how. You let go of the outcome and you allow God to take care of that. You know, whatever faith you are, right? Faith is not only correlated to one specific way of life or one specific religion or one specific spiritual path. Faith is something that we all have access to. I don't care if you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, just spiritual, whatever it is. All of us have the ability to move into that energy of faith and allow that to be the driving force for our life. So take it with a grain of salt, apply it. The more you cultivate faith, the less you feel the need to control everything. Trust allows you to navigate life with ease instead of fear. The more you cultivate faith, the more you relinquish fear driving your vehicle. Fear is what makes you feel like you need to control everything. Fear is what makes you feel like you need to control everything. So this is where awareness comes into play. If you feel like you are trying to control everything, then that is a very, very good indicator that you are more in the energy of fear than you are in the faith. Because when you're really, really moving in faith, you're not trying to control everything because you know that you don't have control of everything. And it allows you to trust in the things that you can't see and focus your energy on the things that you have right here. That's it. Some tangible steps. It says strengthen your faith daily, whether it's with prayer, whether it's with meditation, whether it's with journaling. Spend time each day reinforcing your trust in something bigger than yourself. Have those conversations with yourself. Pray. Write it down. Journal, right? Meditate with that. Sit with that. You know, reaffirm that you have trust in something bigger than yourself, that you're allowing God to lead. Right? Reaffirm that every single day in all these different practices, right? Another tangible step is reflect on past experiences. Think about times when things worked out for you despite uncertainty. Use those moments as proof that life supports you, that everything will be okay. You know, it's called, David Goggins called it going back into the cookie jar. Tap back into the cookie jar of the past moments and seasons that you've overcame. Think about the times where you had to lean into uncertainty or you had to lean into the unknown and you had to trust that everything will work out, and it did. And understand that that happened before, it can happen again. Come on, that happened before, it can happen again. It says faith is not belief without proof, but trust without reservation. Number 8, we have 2 more. Number 8 says, releasing the fear of what if. Releasing the fear of what if. Worry is often fueled by what if thinking. What if I fail? What if things don't work out? What if I make the wrong choice? But these are just fear-based illusions. The truth is, most of what we worry about never actually happens. And that's why there's that quote that we suffer more in our imagination than reality, because so often we worry about things that don't even end up happening. Think about that. You are giving energy to an undesired reality. And then all of this energy that you've given to this undesired reality, this undesired outcome, 9 times out of 10 doesn't even happen. All these things that you're so scared about, that you have so much fear towards, don't even happen. Don't even end up happening. Your mind creates worst case scenarios to protect you, but most of them never manifest. The real power is in shifting your focus to best case scenarios. What if I fail? What if things don't work out? What if I make the wrong choice? What if you succeed? What if things do work out? What if you made the right choice? We're reframing. Come on. The energy you spend on worrying could be spent on creating, growing, and enjoying life. What if instead of what if it goes wrong, you asked what if it goes right? All the energy you're spending on worrying, you're taking away from the energy you could be spent on creating. And we were made to create. We are creators inherently. It's inherent in our nature. We are creators. So if you're worrying, you're not creating. Because worry, and technically you are creating with worry, but you're creating things that you don't want to manifest in your life. When you reframe it as that, it's going to help you to navigate those times. Okay, I don't need to be falling into this loop of worrying. If I do, I'm going to bring myself back, and I'm just going to keep bringing myself back with affirmation, with journaling, with reassurance from a conversation, whether it's watching something, whatever it may be, right? Whatever it may be. Some tangible steps. It says flip the script, right? We just talked about it. When a what if thought comes up, counter it with a positive one. Instead of what if I fail, try what if I succeed beyond my wildest dreams. What if it doesn't work out? What if everything is working out, right? Flip the script, right? Flip the script. So don't be so discouraged if you have the thoughts of what if I fail. No, use it as an opportunity to flip the script. You view it as an opportunity to flip the script, right? So often when we're trying to get away from these things and these things arise, we get so discouraged because we feel like, oh, I'm not making growth. I'm not moving in the way I want to move. No. Whenever they arise, you just have an opportunity to implement the new things you have learned to help navigate them in a more healthier way. It says take small action steps. If you're worried about something, take one small step toward a solution. Action dissolves fear. Absolutely it does. Action absolutely dissolves fear, right? So often our fear for something grows so much in our head because we stay stagnant and we just sit and think about it all the time. When you just take one step at a time, one small actionable step, and you do that slowly, that fear slowly starts to dissolve, right? Because action dissolves fear. Action dissolves fear. It says, worrying is like paying a debt you don't owe. Mark Twain. Worrying is like paying a debt you don't owe. Man, a day of worry is more exhausting than a week of work. That's a fact. Do you know how exhausted you feel after a day where you feel like you've just worried and overthinked all day? You know how exhausted you feel at the end of the day? It's so much mental energy that you're giving. I'm speaking from experience. It's so draining. It's so draining. And number 9, the last point of this episode. Embracing flow over force. Embracing flow over force. When you surrender, you step into flow, the natural rhythm of life where things happen with ease instead of struggle. Flow is about alignment, where things fall into place because you're working with life instead of against it. That's what alignment brings. When you're really moving in an aligned way, life does not feel forced. It feels aligned, right? You feel like you're working towards things that are really aligned with who you are. You feel like you're moving in a direction that is truly in tune with the highest version of yourself, right? And that doesn't feel forced. You feel like you're literally moving with the stream. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Force feels like you're going upstream. It feels like you're just trying to control everything in your life. It's a very, very tough way to live. I've been there. It says forcing things creates tension. Allowing things to unfold creates harmony. Do you want tension in your life or do you want harmony in your life? If you want tension in your life, keep trying to force things. If you want harmony in your life, let go and allow things to unfold and focus on the things that you do have control over. It says the universe moves effortlessly, and so can you. The universe is within you. Whatever the universe and you see nature doing, we have the ability to do within ourselves. And actually, nature is an amazing, amazing metaphor for life. It's an amazing, amazing teacher, right? So pay attention. You'll learn a lot. When you align with flow, you attract the right people, opportunities, and experiences into your life without having to force or chase. Come on. When you really start to move with the flow and move into that energy of alignment and authenticity, rather than chasing after all of these things with force, you start attracting all of these things with alignment. And that's such a more peaceful place to be. Rather than feeling like you got to get up and run after all of these things. No, I'm just going to focus my energy on this moment, making the most out of this moment, cultivating the right energy within myself. And I'm going to start attracting the right people, opportunities, and things from that place. Come on. That's when you really, really, truly feel like empowered as an individual, right? Empowered as an individual. Some tangible steps. Move with what feels natural. Pay attention to what feels effortless and expansive versus what feels forced and draining. Follow the expansive path. Follow the aligned path, right? Really pay attention to that with awareness. Pay attention to what in your life feels effortless and expansive versus forced and draining. What relationships in your life feel expansive? What relationships in your life feel draining? What things do you work out in your life that do you work on in your life that feel expansive? What things do you work on in your life that feel draining? What things do you watch that feel expansive? What things do you watch that feel draining? Start to pay attention to these things and start to become, aware and common with the things that drain you and the things that expand you, and start to give more energy to the things that expand you. What things do I eat that make me feel expansive? What things do I eat that I feel drained? Things like that, right? Let go of rigid timelines. It says instead of saying this must happen by this date, try saying I trust that the right things will unfold at the right time. God willing. Come on. It says when you try to control everything, you enjoy nothing. Sometimes you just need to relax, breathe, and let go. Flow with whatever may happen and let your mind be free. Stay centered by accepting whatever you are doing. This is the ultimate form of peace. Acceptance, right? So that's 9 points about surrendering, letting things happen, and navigating worry. Man, I definitely needed that episode too. Some really good insights in here. Some really good things to take with us throughout our week, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Last week I was traveling, so I didn't get to do a episode, so I just decided to take the week off. But we are back. We're better, and I'm really excited for, what's to come this year. I feel like, we're all really moving in the right direction. This podcast, this community is moving in the right direction. We're aligned. We're growing, and I'm always going to say it, man, I appreciate each and every one of you more than you know. I really do. I really try to get back to everybody that DMs me or messages me, whatever it may be. And I just want to continuously let you guys know that I really do love and appreciate y'all so much. Thank you guys so much for, making this space what it is. There is no With a Grain of Salt without each and every one of you. So I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And like I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to see more into like kind of my day-to-day life and things of that nature, go subscribe to my personal YouTube, which is Isaiah Salter. And yeah, we're going to keep growing. But love y'all. Appreciate y'all. And remember, most importantly, to take everything with a grain of salt. I will catch you guys next week. Deuces.